Hey guys, I am Kaiya and welcome to another Coffee Date Thursday. So this week's topic is Throwback Thursday, my first date ever. Well, I don't know what my first date would be considered, so I am just going to talk about when Brandon met my parents. That was a scary day. So that was like almost 2 years ago. I met him in August, and then he met my parents in October. So the day that he was coming, I was freaking out. I was like, oh my god, he's coming to meet my parents. My dad's gonna kill him. Well, Dad always said if we ever had a boyfriend, he was going to have his gun out, his knife out, and the illustrator. Illustrator is something you neuter animals with. Yeah. All lined up on the table when we met him. So I went to the farm that morning, going like, oh my gosh, he's gonna try to kill him. I don't know why I thought that. Like, why would Dad kill him for no reason? And and then after we went to the farm, I came home. And I got a text from him, and he said he was at the library, and he was actually there for an hour. And I was like, oh my gosh, he's been waiting for an hour. So I got dressed fast. I went downstairs, and I had to go through the kitchen, not the living room, to go to the library to pick him up. So I went to the kitchen. Why I had to do that is because I had to tell Mom and Dad that I was going to the library to pick him up. And I went through, and I was like, I'm gonna be picking Brandon up. And I had my head down, and I walked down the house as fast as I can. And I was like, oh my god, this is scary. And then I go to the library. I picked him up. Mika came with me. Of course, she had to come with me. And when we got to the library, he was sitting there with his backpack and his tent. I did not say that he was camping. I told Dad in the morning because he didn't tell me until the night before that he was going to camp in our backyard. So I didn't tell Dad until when I went to the farm. I'm like, oh yeah, Brandon's camping. So he was sitting there with his backpack, his tent, and then I brought him to my house, and I was like too scared to introduce him to Mom and Dad. So I was like, okay, he was like, okay, then let's set up the tent. So we just set up the tent in the forest in the backyard. And then while Brandon, Mika, and I were helping him set up the tent, I turned and I saw Dad. He was leaning up against a tree, and I screamed because I didn't know he was there. And I was like, oh my god! And then he's like, go home. So Mika and I were like, good luck. And we walked home, and then I was pacing back and forth like I'm doing right now. I don't really like talking sitting down, so that's why I'm walking. So I was pacing back and forth in the house, waiting for Dad and Brandon to come out of the forest. And it was taking so long. It took they were out there for like an hour, or that's what it felt like. It felt so long, and I was like freaking out, like, oh my gosh, is he gonna kill him? I don't know why I thought he was gonna kill him. Like, come on, why would he just kill him? And then I saw Dad coming back, and I was like, oh, where's Brandon? And I didn't see him yet, and I just see Dad, and I was like, oh, he killed him. And then Brandon came right behind him, not right, but way behind him, and I see him, and I was like, oh, he's still alive. And then when Brandon came into the house, my dog, Akila was not really nice to other people. I think it's because when we were little, we would be rough with him, so he didn't really like other people, so he would nip at them. And I was like, Dad, we should put Akil outside so he doesn't bite Brandon. He's like, no, we'll just see how it goes. Of course, he bit him, and he like his fingers. So I was like, oh, I'm sorry. You're trying to make a good impression on my parents, and I'm trying to make a good impression. And you get bitten. I am sorry. So he had to wrap his finger and all that, and I was like, felt so bad. But yeah, that was funny. And that's when they met him. Dad sat down at the table and had lunch with him, and I was like, oh my god. And yeah, we had a fun time that day. It was actually Yos's birthday, which, now that I think of it, I did not think of that at the time, that it was his birthday. We were not having his party that day, but it was his birthday. And so we watched Star Wars that night. The Clone Wars. Yeah, or the Rebels, I don't know. We watched the Rebels, yeah. The Rebels on his birthday, and we had hamburgers and all that. And it turned out great. And then I was thinking of Thanksgiving the week afterwards. But yeah, it was good. He went and camped that night in our backyard. It was cold because it was October 3rd, and there was snow. And I couldn't sleep because I was worried that he was going to get hypothermia. And I was like, oh my god. But yeah, that's how Brandon met my parents. And he's still alive today, yes. Obviously, you can see him in some of my videos. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Subscribe. I'll leave the links to the other ladies' channel down below. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye.